All right. Can we all be audible? I believe so.
Hello. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
I can hear Mandy loud and clear. Very good. Oh, and we see a fantastic, yes, all our panelists are sitting at the panel. That's wonderful. Okay, we officially have 2 minutes to go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you everybody for joining us from around the world. We've got loads of attendees. I saw from Malawi, from Kenya, from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from the Philippines, and many, many other countries. So we're very happy to have such a global audience. It's the afternoon here in Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong. And I believe it's the morning for many of our audience members from the African region. So thank you for joining us. We hope you've had a very good breakfast. Yeah, so we start in 2 minutes. You can still stretch and all of that. But thank you so much for joining us. It's really wonderful. Many people still flooding in. Okay, this is great. These people are all very much on time. That's wonderful. Well, we've got somebody from Italy coming in. Fantastic, welcome. Somebody from Centro Escolar University, Makati, all the way from the Philippines. And also people from Hong Kong, of course, yes, supporting the home crowd or interested in what's going on with CityU of Hong Kong. Just to let you know, there's also a YouTube stream available. So should you, for some reason, lose contact with our Zoom, you can also pick us up on YouTube, and there will also be a recording on YouTube. So if you are temporarily disrupted, not to worry. You can listen to the stream again a little bit later. Also, greetings from Mauritius, greetings from Sri Lanka coming in. Welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us for this event. Okay, I think we're about to start. So it is 3:29, so we can start right on the dot. Oh, also greetings from Lesotho. Yes, thank you very much, Lesotho, for coming in as well. And everywhere in the Philippines, Mangorsi. Oh, that's your name. Sorry, Mindanao. Oh, greetings from Malaysia too. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first AppliedHE CityU Hong Kong Masterclass, which is organized by AppliedHE in partnership with the City University of Hong Kong. The topic for today's event is advancing research and innovation, and we'll have about 1.5 hours of program for you today. Now, I'd like to start by inviting Mandy Mok, the founder and CEO of AppliedHE Singapore, to deliver her welcome remarks. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first AppliedHE City University of Hong Kong Masterclass. Warm greetings to Professor Wei Koh, President of City University of Hong Kong, Provost Professor Christian Wagner, Professor Michael Yang, Vice President of Research and Technology, Dr. Kenny Chan Wai Yen, Associate Professor from the Department of Biomedical Engineering, Professor Wang Zhankai, Chair Professor from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Wilhelm Klein, CEO of Zeta Motion Hong Kong, and Mr. Martin Chu Yi Hao, member of I2Cool and PhD student from the School of Energy and Environment. We are very excited to be working with the City University of Hong Kong to put together such an innovative and high-profile event. As many of you already know, AppliedHE is a new international higher education, evaluation, and branding agency based in Singapore. AppliedHE produces university ranking and ratings, but we also have a fast-growing media and software app profile that includes higher education news, online professional networking, and a stakeholder relationship management system. At the same time, we also organize online professional events such as this one, which is a bespoke masterclass series developed for and in collaboration with City University of Hong Kong. The AppliedHE CityU of Hong Kong Masterclass project was launched in response to the challenges posed by COVID-19 and related travel restrictions. We realized that there was a need for universities like CityU Hong Kong to continue building their global reputation and a desire among academic leaders elsewhere to learn about the best practices of world-class universities such as the City University of Hong Kong. And our solution was this masterclass, which is the first of a series planned throughout 2022. With the series, we aim to reach out to countries that are not in the mainstream of global higher education, and therefore this webinar targets higher education leaders in South and Southeast Asia, as well as Africa, although the webinar is open to everyone, everywhere. These are also the countries that the City University of Hong Kong is keen to engage with more, with a view to establishing its brand strongly in this part of the world. To kick off the series, the first masterclass will focus on research and innovation, an area in which CityU Hong Kong is especially strong and has taken bold steps, including the launch of the Hong Kong Tech 300. Such bold steps have helped CityU Hong Kong rapidly climb in global university rankings, and sharing this experience with you today presents both a branding opportunity for CityU Hong Kong and a chance to genuinely share lessons that CityU Hong Kong has learned along the way. We hope that today's event will help you by providing new ideas and insights into university-led research and innovation, and that it will give you a lasting and positive impression of City University of Hong Kong and AppliedHE. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mandy. Then now it's my pleasure to introduce another round of welcoming remarks by the City University of Hong Kong Provost, Professor Christian Wagner, and his welcome remarks will be followed by his keynote address titled Expanding Interdisciplinary Research to Address Global Challenges. The floor is yours, Professor Wagner.
Thank you very much. Hello, and a warm welcome to you all. It's called a masterclass, but we won't claim to be masters. Really just fellow travelers on the same journey, maybe a bit further ahead than some of you, and ready to share our stories and our lessons learned, as we seem to be doing something right, according to the rankings. For instance, we are currently ranked 4th in the world of universities under 50 years of age. More importantly, we experienced a dramatic rise in world rankings during the past 20 years, until recently leveling out at around top 50. Look for those with a steep gradient, one that continues, and try to understand what they do. We can tell you what we have done, what the underlying principles have been, and how others might be able to do something similar. Every higher education institution is unique, with its own individual challenges. So the ideas that we will present to you today are grounded very much in our context. Nevertheless, there's good reason to believe that what works for us can work for you if you adapt it to your context. Preparing and delivering this session is also very useful for others at CityU, allowing us to reflect on our past years and to seek ways to improve, and also to learn from you in later discussions. After all, we are fellow travelers. With this, I'd like to thank you for joining us today at this CityU AppliedHE online masterclass. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You will continue with the keynote address according to the schedule? We'll just continue on. Thank you.
Thank you. To become a leading university, this phrase or similar has been part of CityU's strategic intent for about 20 years. I'm sure your institutions are no different. But what does that really mean? When rankings became more visible, conversations at my university began to articulate aspirations, targeting the top 100 and moving up really from below the top 200. I can tell you many colleagues were doubtful, not to say incredulous. Let's face it, if you're below the 200 and you aspire to move to top 100, the other universities that are in the way don't just easily say, "Yo, move ahead, please. Happy to go ahead." That's not how it works. It's a tough, arduous journey. We have learned a great deal on that journey, too much for a short keynote, actually. I will therefore focus just on 5 lessons, which revealed themselves when we look at CityU's approach to developing research excellence over the last 2 decades. 4 lessons will highlight the ups, and 1 lesson will describe the downs. The lessons is focused on doing better than competitors who are already very good at the game, those ranked above us. Hence, I will talk about a big vision and careful, swift, and effective execution. Please note, I'm just a storyteller today, explaining a strategy shaped by CityU President Wagner over the last 13 or more years and executed by the entire university. As I'm going to go through these lessons, you may feel that you're already applying some of them at your institution, but maybe not getting enough traction. Then ask yourselves whether your university is applying the lessons in earnest, with full belief, or simply going through the motion. People have to believe in the destination and they have to believe in the path. Because when we believe, we can do. Then we can win. Everyone wants to be part of a winning team. And maybe that's lesson number 0. Lesson 1. Define a vision to focus your institution's interests and resources. When you have hundreds of faculty members, maybe even thousands, working at your university, with each person probably having multiple interests, the university's overall research direction can quickly become fragmented and lack impact. You may have individual stars, yet the whole is less than the parts. To aim high and create impact in excess of more established universities, you can't behave like a pride of lions with individual interests. You need to be a pack of wolves attacking together. Hence, you need to focus on a small number of key challenges. For CityU, it meant to formulate a vision that addresses challenges of a global scale. Difficult, meaningful, that means making sense for CityU, actionable, lasting, and unifying. For us, that meant also interdisciplinary. We wanted our researchers to unite behind common themes. When we began our earnest strategic planning effort, which now takes months, involving many, many stakeholders in a very significant exercise, and we formulated a 5-year strategic plan back in 2010, which since then has been sharpened, better articulated, and revised with every planning cycle, most recently embedded in our 2020 to 2025 strategic plan. The 2020 to 25 strategic plan maps out CityU's development until 2045, a long time ahead, creating a vision based on a deep understanding of our capabilities, our mission, and our aspirations to better this world. Don't just go through the motion with your strategic plan. Establish goals, plan initiatives, define metrics, set deadlines, record your achievements, and follow up. SWOT warning. A few days of SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, will not get this done. It has to be a long, detailed effort. Lesson 2. Define your strategic areas based on competencies and situational needs. Managing means allocating scarce resources. That's true for all organizations. As a university, we need to decide which research areas to pursue most meaningfully with the resources we have. After assessing our location, size, human capital, and resources, and considering lesson 1, in an up and down process, top down, bottom up, we determined 5 areas that would make sense for a young university in Hong Kong. I will name all 5, detailing the first 2. First, One Health, the intertwining of human and animal health. The world is a food chain, and today we need to feed more than 7 billion people. Aquaculture, farming of the oceans, is a key growth area, 40% of which happens in Asia Pacific. Many aquacultures are monocultures, making them highly susceptible to disease or other environmental dangers. This creates a heightened need for a One Health research program, in our region. CityU already had significant expertise in biology, chemistry, and environmental science. We expanded to biomedical science, biomedical engineering, and an entire vet school. Our College of Veterinary Medicine, the first of its kind in Asia, was built in partnership with our collaborator, Cornell University. Second, smart city. Despite nation states and larger state unions, the city remains a key unit in human terms. The best cities in the world compete for top talent, cultivating a strong citizenry through their policies, resources, and the environment they provide. Hong Kong, as one of the elite cities in the world, is no different. Creating a smart city has many facets. Communication infrastructure, for example. While we are now at 4.5 and 5G, CityU researchers, not surprisingly, have been working for years on 6G cellular technology. That's terahertz waves. We work on logistics problems, making the world's best public transport smarter, more efficient, and safer. We work on answers to the challenges of aging and on solutions to environmental challenges that arise in a city of almost 8 million, located in a subtropical environment with minimal natural resources. Digital society, third. Artificial intelligence, the built environment, urban planning. These and many others contribute to the theme. Brain, our fourth area, also encompassing a range of areas, including neuroscience, psychology, but also artificial intelligence. Again, we already had competency among CityU faculty, but we significantly expanded over the last decade. And fifth, matter. Material science may not always have been among the hot areas of research, surely not when I studied engineering. Yet now it is fundamental to breakthroughs at a large scale, such as space exploration, or the nanoscale, such as in creating materials for nanorobots. Similarly, soft, biomaterials, and hard, metals, semiconductors have changed the nature of everything, from aeronautics to computer technology to medical science. Up and down analysis across disciplines and thoughtful reflection about the future are essential to define areas. Some areas may seem a stretch at first and only become meaningful as you establish critical mass. Our areas may not be the same ones as for you, so find yours. Lesson 3, execute by developing capabilities and acquiring strategic assets. Institutional excellence is based on people who can do their best work, period. Let's talk about faculty hiring. Universities early in their development may hire faculty based on their alma mater or their previous place of employment, shopping for brand names, so to speak. But we strategically plan our research. As we strategically plan our research, we must hire specific faculty capabilities for very specific roles. The earlier we develop our faculty infrastructure highly targeted, the more we are ahead. CityU's deans and heads will chase after talent in very specific areas. They don't wait for the talent to apply. Be ready for poaching by your competitors. Then you know you hired well, but also be ready to counter quickly. As we continue to build our faculty strengths, we look for senior experts, those who defined an area and who are the world leaders in their field. We also cultivate our young guns, the young faculty who are very eager to publish, collaborate, and win grants. We have learned to create critical mass of experts. If someone leaves, the research area remains intact until we can reload. The research is thus not dependent on one or just two stars alone. Isn't the logic I'm explaining here quite obvious? In the abstract, it certainly is. In the specific, we make sure that we follow this logic by benchmarking and by seeking the advice from international advisors. They question us whether we focus on the most relevant new trends, whether we have critical mass or whether we are using critical research paradigms. Stay self-critical, never get stale. Let me share a few expertise examples. One of our early career researchers led a team that developed a technique to identify type 2 diabetes biomarkers. You can read about it in Nature journal. Others have made breakthroughs in the early detection of Alzheimer's. Our VP research, Michael Yang, right here, is a pioneer in COVID detection research and co-founder of Prenetics, a world-leading biomedical testing company. How do we know we have the right team? For example, for the past 5 consecutive years, CityU ranks first among the local universities for granted US utility patents, according to the National Academy of Inventors. I said local, but that's against 4 sister universities in Hong Kong, which also rank among the top 100 in the world. That's fierce competition. What about research citation impact? According to a recent Stanford University study, over 170 CityU faculty members are among the top 2% in the world's most highly cited scientists. That means 20% of our faculty are among the world's top 2%. That's a 10-to-1 ratio. Capable researchers need resources to live up to their potential. Focus on strategic assets, assets that can lead to breakthroughs, or key technologies that give a differential advantage based on your talent. For example, CityU acquired the only high space-time resolved transmission electron microscope in Hong Kong in 2018. We also obtained a preclinical MRI for biomedical imaging the same year. In 2020, CityU set up the most powerful high-performance computing platform for a higher institution in Hong Kong. This facility, named CityU Burgundy, enables our genome research, meteorological data interpretation, and computational material science, to name just a few. Such resources can be white elephants without the expertise to use them effectively. We hired specialist staff, and so our HPC resources, for instance, have already been outpaced by demand, ready for a major refresh in 2022. Place specialist equipment in the hand of your experts, allowing them to do work that others cannot. Then they can obtain funding for new projects and maintain a project flow that, once primed, can largely support itself. Lesson 4, overcome research silos. Most universities have departments and colleges, but research frequently needs to cross bureaucratic boundaries. Some call it the invisible college, the collaborative communities that reside between departments, colleges, or even universities. CityU has not been shy breaking up departments, combining them, creating new institutional structures, such as schools and colleges, so that the structures can better reflect the research reality and to unleash research strength otherwise held back. Many of our colleagues hold multiple departmental affiliations, reflecting their multidisciplinary research interests. Collaboration beyond our university boundaries and our geographic boundaries has been another accelerator of our development. Examples include our Hong Kong Institute for Advanced Study that brings together highly renowned research fellows from around the world across a broad spectrum of disciplines. These most eminent individuals stay with us for a limited time, a semester, a year, or sometimes longer, sharing their ideas and forming research partnerships that continue beyond their return home. Lesson 5, watch your rearview mirror. Who is trying to overtake you? On the journey to research excellence, we can't just look forward. We must also look backwards in a process of honest self-evaluation. Are others doing better than us? Are they running faster? How? Rankings are a good indicator, and especially rankings momentum is. As our position in the rankings has been stabilizing around the top 50, following many years of much momentum, we noted that very few young universities move further upwards, largely because of limits to their academic reputation. They are young, of course. This has become a point of reflection for us. Are we developing our academic networks broadly enough? Those of you who know about the networks will know about the mutually beneficial effects. And in fact, our plans to extend our invisible college did not go as planned. With COVID, our Institute for Advanced Studies housed few of the intended scholars over the past couple of years. No surprise. We also may not have been as active as intended in building international networks and expanding partnerships. Again, no surprise. And that's probably true for everyone. Yet when trying to move up, one needs to do better. We are just now re-establishing our strategic peer review of academic units, our review of excellence, put on hold for 2 years in an activity where we ask the best scholars in the field to advise us strategically so that we can advance further. It's a never-ending journey, after all, where standing still means falling back. To sum up, let me end by quickly reminiscing. 1, define an impactful vision carried by the entire institution. 2, focus on meaningful, impactful, and lasting target areas. 3, develop your faculty and provide them with strategic resources to deliver breakthroughs. 4, overcome research silos. And 5, check your rear view mirror frequently. As you revisit the list, I'm sure many of you may not be surprised by these lessons. And in fact, you may think, I already knew this. My question then is, are you following the lessons? And if not, why not? At CityU, they served us well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Wagner. Yes, round of applause. That was a very inspiring talk. Learned a lot of things there. We will now move on to the panel discussion, which will include some Q&A. I forgot to actually introduce myself. My name is Peter Steck. I'm the Chief Analyst at AppliedHE. So if during the panel discussion you have questions, please put them in the Q&A. And if time allows, I will try and raise them to some of the panel members. But no promises, unfortunately. Our first panelist who will have a brief presentation is the City University of Hong Kong Vice President for Research and Technology, Professor Michael Yan.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. So first, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to the audience all over the world. It's a great pleasure for CityU together with AppliedHE to host this online masterclass. And we're talking about advancing research and innovation. So we're going to share in the next hour or so CityU's strategy on research and knowledge transfer. And we're going to focus on 3 broad areas in this regard. One is how to strengthen research collaborations and how to fostering a vibrant research environment. And finally, how to carry out the knowledge transfer and entrepreneurship to create some impact on the society. Now, as our provost just mentioned, CityU is a young but very dynamic and fast-growing university. Over the last 20 years, we've been moving really fast, particularly over the last 13 years under the leadership of Professor Wei Kuo. CityU has risen steadily to among the top 50 in the world, according to QS World University Ranking. And we are, as Chris just mentioned, number 4 in the top 50, under 50s in 2021. We have some of the best faculties in the region. We are ranking very high in terms of citation per faculty. We have the largest percentage of top 2% scientists and engineers in all the universities in Asia. Chris also mentioned about the strategic plan. Among the plan, we focus very much over the last several planning exercise to identify the focus area. And as mentioned, that we have identified these 5 strategic research areas. Now, in addition to their unique importance in tackling the global challenges, they are also form the hub for research collaboration. And as you can see that of the 5 strategic themes that we have developed, each of them actually form a hub that can collaborate with the other 4. One Health, digital society, smart city, brain, and matter. And we also clearly remember all these research and innovation are aiming at improve the quality of life to create a better world. Humanity and social science also benefited from these research efforts. Focus. Once we identify the focus area, once we have a strategic plan, the next is the execution. So we purposely allocate resources, recruit talented faculty, admit the best students to create some of the top and leading research critical mass in select disciplines. So as you can see from this Shanghai ranking on global ranking of academic subject, among the top 50, CityU actually has 14 subjects or disciplines that are ranked among the top 50 in the world. Now this is, again, reflect our vision to be the leading international university and to continue to expand the boundary of the knowledge. And as you can see that since 2008, CityU has established in Hong Kong the first School of Energy and Environment. And as you know, that is critical issue of climate change and the energy. The provost mentioned about the first school of veterinary medicine. So this is not only to create, to train vets for the pets, but also tackle the important challenge of One Health, this global pandemic. We are the first to establish a school of data science. Again, we are living in this hybrid of reality and virtual reality. So all this big data that need to have a very sophisticated tool to handle and process. We are also the university to establish the first Department of Biomedical Engineering, Department of Biostatistics, Department of Material Science and Engineering, Department of Advanced Design and Systems Engineering, and Department of Neuroscience. All these are interdisciplinary subjects that are at the cutting edge of research. So you can see that as a dynamic young university, we are not afraid of moving at the front. We are not limited by the tradition. And that's how we are able to attract the top talent, the best faculties, both at senior and junior level, and the very talented students to join us. And as reflected, we are able to attract significant amount of external funding that will be able to use to invest into our critical areas to further strengthen our research excellence. And as you can see, for the past 5 years, our research income is more than triple. And this reflected in our output. Okay, the research income is an input. And what about the output? And this is reflected in our list of high impact publications. And this is just a simple short list of the papers that published by our faculty member in the Journal of Nature and Science over the past 5 years. And you can see we have about 30 high impact publications in Nature and Science. And the next slide shows that the publications in the Nature series and Science series journal. As you can see that, again, our contribution continue to rise stably. And the provost also mentioned, in addition to these cutting-edge research results, we are also secure a lot of patents. And this is the number of US patents issued to the university. So CityU has been ranked among the top 100 universities in the world in terms of the US patent granted. And we have maintained the #1 position in Hong Kong over the last 5 years. Now, in addition to these research output and the patent intellectual property, how are we going to translate and transfer these research results for the benefit of the society to have impact on the social, economic, and the health of our people? So CityU realized the importance of this innovation and launched the largest university-based entrepreneurship program in Asia in the beginning of this year, called Hong Kong Tech 300. So the university is investing 500 million Hong Kong dollars in the next 3 years to help our students and staff to bring our technology for practical use by generating 300 startup companies. Our Hong Kong Tech 300 program consists of 4 stages, and we are creating an ecosystem for our students and staff to be able to move the research result from the lab to the factory, to the customer. So the 4 stages include the recruiting and training, where we provide professional entrepreneurship training to anybody who's interested in carry out these knowledge transfer activity. And we are sponsoring $10,000 per startup team to participate in these training. And the second stage is the seed fund. We provide $100,000 per team for them to develop their innovative idea into a startup program. And then the next stage, these teams will be able to further refine their business plan, license the intellectual property from the university, and develop some minimally viable products as a startup. And we also set up an angel fund that will provide the initial investment to these startup teams, up to Hong Kong dollar 1 million each, to develop and validate the business model and to really move out of the campus to become a true tech startup. We are also working in the 4th stage with our partners to provide the next stages of the venture capital funding, around Hong Kong dollar 10 million each, that will help some selected startups to further develop into a successful venture and possibly into a unicorn. So the program, for the last, since the launch of the program, we have received overwhelming response from the community and from our students and young people in Hong Kong. And this is a much needed initiative to bring the cutting edge research result, to give the students and the young people a diverse and different training and growth opportunity to engage in this innovation and entrepreneurship journey. So as you can see that we have the partnerships from both the government, the industry, with all the major chambers and the industry association in Hong Kong. We have the Hong Kong Science Park and Cyberport, the 2 major government-based incubators. And we have a number of local and international venture capitals, industry organizations, and large corporations that are our partners to provide, in addition to the investment, but also all kind of support, from the mentoring to co-working space to the accounting, legal, auditing service. Many of them offer these to our students and these early startups free of charge. So these are some of the media reports about the Hong Kong Tech 300. So I'm very pleased to share with you that the program has attracted not only our CityU's own student staff, we also attract students and young people from all walk of the society in Hong Kong and some other part of the world. Okay, and we are going beyond the Hong Kong boundary. So the last slide, I want to show you how well the program has progressed. Since the launch of the program in March, we have already trained about 1,000 students and staff through our training program, and we have received more than 280 startup teams to apply for our seed fund, and we have granted 145 of them for 100,000 Hong Kong dollars. And among those, we also identify 31 of these that would invest 1 million Hong Kong dollars. And as you can see, that all these startups are very hard tech-driven, technology-driven. They're involved in innovation, information and computer technology, biotech and healthcare, deep tech, environmental technology, education, fintech, and business. And the participants is not only from our students, also from our research staff and our alumni, and also other students and young people from other universities and other companies that they want to license our technology to launch a startup. So this is an integrated approach in promoting and advancing research and innovation by defining strategic research area, creating a very vibrant research environment, promoting research collaboration, and also facilitating the knowledge transfer and entrepreneurship. So with that, my colleagues in the panel and students and alumnus will share with you in the next 45-50 minutes about different aspects of how we are advancing research and innovation for the benefit of mankind. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Young, for that very informative and interesting presentation. Now the floor is for the Department of Biomedical Engineering Associate Professor of City University of Hong Kong, Dr. Kani Chan-Wai Yan. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Peter, for the introduction. So I'm here to share with you as a member of this young and uprising university. I'm proud to share with you our aspect in the strengthening collaboration. So the goal of it is to develop strong and sustainable partnerships with academia, industry, community organizations, and public sectors. I use this illustration to show you that if you have a technology, let's say, then you would like to translate, of course, like then it's like to the community. And also like during this process, then you have to pass go through certain regulations, and then like post-marketing like management. So all this is like the ingredients like for growing a tree, just like this illustration. Then it may end up with like various like technology or applications, like it will branch out like even more like applications. And the role of like academia, industry, community organization, and public sectors is provide a very enriched and resourceful environment to sustain the growth of this kind of technology tree. So taking the global challenge, aging, as an example, so you can see that this is like pressing like challenge because like we have like lived longer nowadays, and then like by the year 2050, like about 30 years like from now, then the aging population will reach like 2.1 billion. So in Hong Kong, then the elderly support ratio now is about like 4 working adults will support 1 elderly, but by the time of 2038, then you can see it will drop to only 2 working adults. So that's why it's a pressing need for developing like technology to solve this problem. So the whole goal is to support what we call the healthy aging. So healthy aging plus we want to age gracefully. That means when you get older, you want to have the ability to take care of yourself and then live a normal life, right? So then it's important to minimize the risk of cognitive decline and disability. So the target will be to tackle like neurodegenerative disease and cardiovascular diseases, because these diseases has led to the major cognitive decline and disability in the elderly. So then it will require like professional hubs to fill the ecosystem, to build like a technology tree that around aging in order to support efficient and affordable healthcare. Here I list out some of the related technology, for example, like wearable technology, telemedicine, community care, medical imaging, AI-assisted analysis, and digitalization. So since my expertise is in medical imaging, I will share with you some of our research and also how we can make use of this like technology tree as a model to support like strengthening partnerships. So recently we have developed an invasive lymphatic imaging technology for neurodegenerative disease. Why we have want to develop such technology? Because we see the needs in the clinic. There's no non-invasive approach to assess the lymphatic system in the clinic. So this is a patent technology, and here you can see that we can use this technology to image the lymphatic system in both the animal model and human brain. So this study is in collaboration with radiologists and neurologists at the hospital. So you can see that as you have done technology, you need to collaborate with the expertise in the area in order to bring it out to the community. So how these technologies can contribute to the disease diagnosis. Taking Alzheimer's disease as an example, it's very hard to diagnose Alzheimer's disease early. Current technology mainly focused on the diagnosis around mild cognitive decline. That means when the subject already have some symptom or what we call the cognitive impairment. So it's around this age. So then not much like treatment can be done at this stage. So the technology we develop is could be able to identify the Alzheimer's disease as projected, will be around this stage as indicated by the red box. So then it's much earlier. So it's during the cognitive normal stage. So then if that's the case, then we can try to prevent the early loss of neurons by having early intervention. Another technology we developed is for diagnosis of the multiple sclerosis in collaboration with clinical radiologists and neurologists. So you can see that this technology will enable us to identify multiple sclerosis very specifically. Among the normal cohort on the left, the neuromyelitis optica in the middle, and then multiple sclerosis on the right. You can see as shown in the bar chart that you can see that the multiple sclerosis show a significantly lower MRI contrast as indicated here. So as you can see that we have the technology, then what we need to do is not just about the technology, but then there are also peripheral technology that needed for bringing it out to the community. For example, like the data analysis. So as you know that in Asia that the medical physicist ratio is pretty low. So then it's in order to streamline the clinical practice or to bring the new technology into the clinical routine, it's very important that we have some AI-assisted data analysis tools. So then it will work together to improve the sensitivity and specificity of what we call the early diagnosis. So here is so then in addition to what we call the branching out more new technology, and then we need to build into an ecosystem to have the ecosystem. So in our case, it's like we will expect it that if this technology continue to grow, then it could combine with other wearable technology, and then like with all this like vital sign data or medical imaging data, and then we can generate something called AI assist electronic report to predict the risk of disease. The disease we are target here is neurodegenerative disease and cardiovascular disease. So then we can advise the public when will be the best time to seek professional treatments. So back to our technology tree. So for us in the imaging field, then we have all the technology and then try to translate in collaboration with clinicians, and also like, of course, like we also collaborate with the MRI vendors and then try to commercialize the packages into a clinical patch so that to facilitate diagnosis, and together with the AI assist data process. You can see then the tree can have like number of like technology that bridge out. And then of course, like we need to also like have the support from all the academic industry, community organization, and public sectors. So as you know that aging is a pressing challenge, so I believe there will be a very sustainable ecosystem for our technology tree. I hope that you will find your technology tree and try to grow it from your expertise. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chan, for that very interesting presentation. Next is City University Department of Mechanical Engineering, Chair Professor Wang Zhuang Kai, and the floor is yours.
It's on. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Peter. It's my great pleasure to talk about how to foster a vibrant research environment. During the interview with Nature, I mentioned I want to be more productive but less stressful. I think most of you will agree with me. This is also the reason why I joined a very special place in the world, City University of Hong Kong, more than 10 years ago. In this special place, we flow with talent. We fly like a soft and elastic droplet. And even in the face of difficulty, we can still bounce up. That doesn't work well. Even in the face of difficulty or falling down, we can still bounce up. Even in the dark, we can still glow and light up. A vibrant environment can amplify our ability, build a bridge to future, catalyze our success, drive us forward, and transform dust into good. In contrast, in vibrating environment, the good opportunity and good luck slip away. Sometimes our dream was shattered by cold reality. Moving from vibrant environment to vibrant environment require us to learn from nature, especially in the time of a pandemic. In nature, each living organism has a unique purpose. In nature, nature is adaptive, nature is beyond the boundary, and nature rewards collaboration. Building an environment like nature requires us to attract good people, to promote, to retain them, require us to develop and build good platform and a good program to release their potential, to build pleasant and healthy culture, to put them together. All this mean a lot. Vibrant environment is also tolerant to failure. 10 years ago, a young man joined his department. He had a very low bar on himself. In the first 2 years, he didn't receive any external grant. He didn't have budget to buy the equipment. By leveraging equipment and collaboration, he successfully published one of the landmark paper in his field. Still, his department, his college, and his university renewed the contract for him. Benefiting from this kind of tolerance, he trusts his students. If he failed his experiment for 5 times, in the 6th time, he found that the droplet jumped like pancake. Since this work, the life of that student jumped like droplet. Now, he is a full professor in a top university of China. This is the first publication in Nature and Science series in his department. Since then, his department continued to reach new heights over the past decades. In the open and collaborative requirement, there's no barrier to success. In the open and collective requirement, everyone is reshaped, everyone trained to better and better to before. In the pandemic, everyone are eager to flatten curve, as mentioned by Professor Yang. The openness and collaboration made our nature index curve to grow exponentially. And also CityU are ranked as #3 rising young university in the world. For example, in our college, over the past 3 years, we have more than 5,000 journal publications with over 1,000 universities across the world. For example, collaborating with the US and mainland China, last year we showed that one single droplet can light up 100 LED. Today, we can just use the one single droplet to light up a light bulb of 60 watts. As long as we have water, we can have sufficient energy generation. Even we don't have water, we can first collect water from the air. This kind of generic design can be used in IoT and also in other systems. We can not only produce power from water, we can also use the water to cool down hard surface. Recently, we solved a 255 years challenge in Thermo-Cooling. Previously, it is impossible to cool down hard surface with the water because the water is levitated by the vapor layer. But on our surface, the water magically spread on the surface and then cool down the surface within 1 second. So this really fundamentally suppress the negative physical effect. This result can have far-reach application. To have good application is just the first step. So the second step, and more important, is how to translate the fundamental research to practical application. At the same time, and also we train and we educate young generation. Finally, let's continue to work together to build, to develop, and to maintain a vibrant research environment to make a better world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that very interesting presentation and also the parallels that you draw. Now, I'd like to ask some questions to the speakers before we move on to the final 2 speakers, Dr. Klein and Mr. Martin Zhu. The first question I'd like to ask to Professor Michael Young. Now, you mentioned building this environment in which different types of stakeholders can collaborate. And you showed us a slide with some very, very impressive partners who are providing huge amounts of funding. And I just wanted to know, what is your secret? When you walk into a room with a new idea, something as radical as Hong Kong Tech 300, how do you persuade those stakeholders to work with you or to try this out? What is kind of the strategy that you follow?
Yeah, that's a very important question and a very critical, in particular for a young institution. how do you attract the support? How from the community, from the funding agency? I think this is not a sort of short-term. There's no such a short-term solution. As you can see that over the last more than 20 years, from the beginning, we have been focusing on research excellence. Even at the beginning, when we have limited resources, we have developed the strategic plan, identified the strategic areas, and we attract the best faculty, recruit the smartest students to create the critical mass at the cutting edge of science and technology. So over the years, we built up these solid foundation. I think the most important is we have the people, but we also have the infrastructure to support this research. So that you can see from my presentation, also my colleagues' presentation, our research income and also our research output have increased steadily over the last 10 years. And this also helps us to build up a reputation as a university that can deliver. So when we launched the Hong Kong Tech 300, again, there's also a lot of speculations, and people are doubtful about our ambitious goal. But within a few months, we have been able to convince many of these stakeholders, many of these important partners that we can deliver. Okay, so I think that's the key. Once you have built up your track record, once you have established your reputation that you can have an idea, but you can also execute it well, then people will support you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that detailed and very insightful answer. I'd now like to turn to Dr. Kenny Chan. You mentioned a lot in your presentation, a lot of collaboration with industry partners and so on. And of course, City University of Hong Kong has a very strong focus of innovation. How has that enhanced your career as an academic to be working so closely with industry?
So I think like CityU, first of all, provide a very resourceful environment for me to develop my expertise. And also like it provides like various channels to connect with the community or like the related, for example, like at the hospital or like with the physicians and radiologists and neurologists in the medical regime, which is like critical for me to develop the corresponding like technology, because sometimes if you have the technology but then you don't know what's the need in the community, then you cannot like kind of like have a smooth translation. I think like those kind of like communication collaboration really helped in my academic career.
Thank you very much for those additional insights. Yeah, the importance of being relevant to the community. Now, my question to Professor Wang Zhuangkai. You mentioned essentially that you sometimes need to take risks, right? Also in your research, if you want to break through the barrier, you need to take risks. And of course, we love to celebrate success, the Nature publication, the Science publication, or the startup. But my question to you is, how do you deal with failure? Because risk doesn't always work out the way you want. You could have a student or a researcher spending 2-3 years on something, trying to get tenure, but then not getting the result that they were looking for. How do you guide students, prepare colleagues, especially young ones, for the possibility that success might take quite a long time to materialize?
Okay, this is a very good question. For me, risk is positive. You know, people always think risk is negative effect. I think failure really can transform ourselves. Failure is a defined feature of research and entrepreneurship. I remember Jack Ma, he mentioned he failed 23 times. Finally, he got a job, right? Without the failure, I think there's no today Jack Ma. In my research and in my education and education and research experience, I failed a lot. I never succeed in the first try. I always mention to my students, please work out your comfort zone. If you stay in your comfort zone, it's very hard to go beyond. It's very hard to reach out. So, for example, I mentioned in my PPT, our first nature physics paper, my student failed 5 times, but we never give up. In the 6th time, we succeed. In our recent work, which addressed 260 years 5 challenge, we failed 4 years. My students don't have any publication over the past 4 years, but I mentioned to him, this is a historical problem. If you can make it, that will change your career, not change your career, but change the future of us. Because this is a historical challenge, not only useful, not only beneficial to yourself, it's beneficial for human being. So by saying that, I think it's very important to take a risk. Because if you don't take a risk, the return is less. But I also agree with you. There's a trade-off, right? So how to weigh the risk and the potential. But I think, for all the people in academic or even in the industry, they are smart. They know how to move forward with the best solution. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, that's a very thoughtful answer. Yeah, risk being essential actually for getting those breakthroughs, and then yeah, how do you manage it? How do you deal with it? I'd now like to go to the two other panelists that we have. They will come more from an entrepreneurial perspective, and the first panelist is the CEO of Zeta Motion in Hong Kong, Dr. Wilhelm Klein. So the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here today and share a little bit about our journey from our startup, having grown out of City University. And I would really like to pick up on 2 aspects, especially. One being the interdisciplinarity here at City University, and also the many programs and the support for entrepreneurs that we have experienced here. So let me start by telling you a little bit about myself and also my co-founder. We both came here to City University to pursue our PhDs in 2013 already. And I guess we're relatively good examples for the type of researcher that is very attracted to City University, because both of us have a very interdisciplinary background. So I have a background in that spans economics, philosophy, and also technology. And my co-founder, Dr. Huy Phan, had a long background in design and painting and art, but also was very interested in computer science and the new emerging field of AI research and machine learning. And we were very attracted to the possibilities here at City University, and especially the School of Creative Media, where both of us ended up doing our PhDs, because it allowed us to transcend the, as Provost Wagner called it, the research silo, and really make use of the different connections and opportunities here at the university. So I was, for example, able to pursue my interests in 3D printing and electronics and drone research, drone piloting, and so on, while Huy not only had an artistic supervisor, but also had another supervisor who was connected from the School of Computer Science, and allowing him really to engage in absolutely novel and new research. So this kind of nurturing foundation was really very important to the founding of our startup as well, which kind of came about, yes, next page, please. Thank you. at a fateful Christmas, essentially, where Hui suggested that we should bring together the different skill sets and the different abilities that we have learned, not least here at City University, to start a startup and apply our expertise, especially in artificial intelligence, to novel fields. So we started working on our project, and by summer 2019, we had a working prototype. We filed our patent and had a MVP launch towards the end of 2020. We also gained quite a lot of traction and won a number of interesting challenges, and had our first contract with the public festival. Right around that time, we were also connected to or addressed by City University, who reminded us of the opportunities here at City University, and brought us back from our kind of visitation in Europe, if you will, and brought with their connections not only the funding and support by the university itself, but also the connected ecosystems like Hong Kong Science Park, and later on also the Hong Kong Tech 300, where we are proudly part of the inaugural angel investment cohort. But of course, everything is not just smooth sailing. No good plan survives contact with the enemy. So we too were met with COVID-19, and we had traction in the public festival space using our technology for motion capture. But of course, that was no longer possible to apply because there was no more public events anywhere to be had. So we had to find something new to do. But once again, we were in luck to be connected to City University, because City University also invited us to take place or to take part in an expo that was hosted here in Hong Kong, which introduced us to the world of smart manufacturing and digital transformation. And we met our strategic partner, Dakota Systems, who is now a partner of ours, and is a veteran in digital transformation. And that really set us on the path of finding a new area of application for our technology, and has landed us now in the space of surface inspection. And especially now with this support by the university and this initial investment from the angel fund, we are really in a position to especially explode, if you will. So we are very much have the aspiration to be one of the first, if not the first, true unicorn coming out of the Hong Kong Tech 300 program. And we have quite some good traction to show already. So right now we have already delivered a POC for GAF in the US, which is the largest roofing manufacturer in the US with over $8 billion in US dollars in revenue. And right now we are setting up the pilot, which upon success is scheduled to be deployed to all of their 28 factories. And beyond that, we are already in the POC stage with 4 additional large corporations, and talking to big players, including Airbus and Toyota. So yeah, we have really had quite an adventurous journey behind us, and we were able to capitalize on our connections to university, to learn from our ability to roam free and develop our skills, and to be supported even through difficult times. And that has led us to where we are right now, and we're looking forward into a positive future with further collaboration with City University. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What a fantastic story, right? And starting right before COVID, and then, yeah, luckily going well. Very well indeed. Our next speaker is a PhD student at the School of Energy and Environment for the City University of Hong Kong, and also a member of I2Cool, Mr. Martin Zhu Yi Hao. The floor is yours.
Hello, so thank you, Peter, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I am a PhD student in the School of Energy and Environment in CTU, the first school of School of Energy and Environment in Hong Kong. And I'm doing a PhD here. I came to Hong Kong 4 years ago because CityU is doing very strong in research and innovation. I came to CityU to pursue my PhD study. And actually, our group is doing some technologies about building energy saving, such as passive radiated cooling, smart windows, and jumping droplets on AC systems. And our startup, I2Cool, actually is doing the commercialization of the passive radiated cooling. As you guys know, Hong Kong is a hot and humid city that consumes a lot of energy in AC each year. So we actually inspired by Sahara and ducting survive in a super hot environment. We developed an energy-free cooling technology to reduce the AC energy consumption. And with the help of the Hong Kong TED 300 program, we demonstrated our materials in many different projects, such as a building in Dong Chong, Hong Kong, supported by some governmental departments. We applied our cooling materials on the roof, and it shows around 30 degrees C temperature reduction on the roof surface, and around 5 to 6 degrees C in indoor air temperature, which is very significant in summer to reduce the AC energy consumption. And we are also collaborating with some companies such as Henderson Land Development, a local Hong Kong developer. We applied our product on the top of a site container in Mong Kok, and it shows around more than 10 degrees C reduction on the surface in November, and also around more than 5 degrees C reduction in indoor air temperature of the container. And in the future, we will have more projects with our collaborators, such as the Henderson Land Development, because the white version of the paint I just showed can achieve a very good cooling performance. They would like to, continue to collaborate with us by using some semi-transparent paint on the roof of a shopping mall in Hong Kong. And also, CityU is very nice. CityU provides some testing location for us to verify the cooling performance of our technology. And we are also discussing with some other government departments to extend the business or extend the usage of our materials. And we also used our paint in the Central Market, a historical building in Hong Kong, collaborating with the Charlotte Cram Group, another local developer in Hong Kong. And also, we will also use our materials in some other applications, not only in buildings, such as some outdoor electronics. And before we start the journey of entrepreneurship, we have never thought that our cooling materials can be used in the applications besides building. So I think this is also a very good practice for us to uncover the true value of our patent, which is to extend the application scenarios of the technologies we develop in the university. And in the future, we will keep finding more opportunities in the market to extend the application of our materials. For example, we can use in any surface for cooling in outdoor environments, such as the vehicles, or even we can combine it with the with solar panels to cool it down to enhance the generation efficiency. And we are also discussing with some companies such as Tang Gas in Hong Kong, who plan to use our paint material to cool their tanks in some industrial area to enhance the efficiency of their operations. And we are also working on turning our materials into textile, into fibers, such that in the future we can make some cooling clothes or cooling masks to that can be beneficial to some outdoor workers. And actually, we have such an ideas, not only just in the laboratory, but we need to go out to present our technology to our business partners, such that we can get a lot of feedbacks or some suggestions from them to further develop or extend our technology in the laboratory. And in early this year, and supported by the Knowledge Transfer Office of CityU, we participated in the Geneva Invention Competition and won the gold medal with congratulations of the jury. And also, we encouraged by the Hong Kong Tech 300 program, we participated in many different competitions and got highlighted in some newspapers and social medias. So next page, thanks. And we won some awards in some competitions in both Hong Kong and mainland China, such as the Climate Action Recognition Scheme, and another competition called China Maker, which was organized by the central government of China and the Hong Kong government. And in this competition, we can present to some panel members, not only in the university, but also in the industry or even in some companies in mainland China, to get our technology exposed in mainland China. Because in the future, we will set up some manufacturing lines in the Greater Bay Area. So I think this kind of competition is a great platform for us to get noticed in mainland China. And we also like to thank the Hong Kong Science Park for providing us the seed fund program in the ideation scheme. And we also got highlighted in some theory program because of our materials and the startup, and also some newspapers. And this is our plan. In the coming 3 to 5 years, we would like to develop more new products. Because now currently our first generation of paint is quite mature now, but we also got many feedbacks from the market that say some owners, they may like to use some colorful paints. So in the future, we will develop more choices for them to choose. And also some owners say that, in winter, they may want a warming up process for the building, not only just the cooling. So we will also develop a paint that can change the color automatically, subject to the ambient temperature, to absorb the solar sunlight in winter to keep the house warm. And also some building owners, they may dislike the paint. They may like to use the ceramic on the external walls of the buildings. So we are now also working on developing a cooling ceramic to provide more choices to our customers. I think this kind of practice is very good to inspire us to fine-tune our research in the laboratory to extend our technology. And also it can make our research to get more close to the earth, not only just to purchasing some very high performance, such as for our case is optical performance, high reflection or high emission to publish a paper, but we really can do some research to get it to be beneficial to the society. So at the end, I would like to take this opportunity to thank CityU for providing us such a great atmosphere for doing research and innovation, and also provide us good educations to do many trials instead of just staying in the laboratory, especially for launching the Hong Kong Tech 300 program that connect us with the industry and customers. And I would also like to thank my supervisor, Dr. Edwin Cho, who supported us a lot in the past few years. And I would also like to thank my teammates who worked really hard to make everything come true. And this is all my sharing today. I hope you guys can take your climate action right now and achieve the goal of carbon neutrality together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's a wonderful closing statement. Yes, applause as well from us. I'd like to, we're almost out of time, but I'd still like to ask 2 questions to the past 2 speakers. For Dr. Klein, I'd like to ask him about the relation, or kind of the how do you say, the conflict that often exists between wanting to commercialize something, running a business, and then the academic desire. I mean, academics, they want to tell the whole world about how everything works, teach people, spread the knowledge. And an investor wants you to patent it, keep it a secret, make sure no competitor can get in there. So although you mentioned there's a fantastic relationship with CityU, there must be that friction. And how do you deal with it? What has been your personal journey in dealing with it? That's essentially the question.
Yes, thank you very much. That's an excellent question. And indeed, there's quite some friction sometimes between academic research and research in the private area. I think one of the main differences is that not only this question of publication or not publication, but whether, what you're working towards. So when we had our postdoctoral researchers join our team, we told them that they're now in a different environment, which means we are very, very target oriented. We have customers, we have deadlines, we have to get things done, which sometimes may mean that you don't have quite the same time to make it perfect, make it beautiful, and make it into a state that you would be able to publish, for example. Rather, follow more of an engineering approach, if I may call it that, and make it work well so that we can solve the problem and the pain point for our customer. At the same time, that also has an advantage while being a bit stressful at times, which is that sometimes when you're in academia and you have more freedom and you can go really, really deep, you are also a bit more removed from the rest of society. You remain more in the ivory tower. And working in the industry, you have you're much, much closer to the real world in many ways. So you have the ability to work on solutions that have a real, true, immediate impact on the world. Where in our case, for example, our engineers can point to a railway and say, hey, we helped make that safer, right? So even though there is a certain clash, I think it's more of an opportunity for strengthening or for focusing on the strengths, the relative strengths on both sectors. So you have more freedom, you can go deep, you can go wide, and especially in an interdisciplinary setting like here in City University, you can really explore amazing fields, and then you can bring that to the industry and find amazing applications and real impact in the world very fast.
Great, thank you very much for that explanation. Yes, there is tension, but it is probably good as well that there are differences. That's a very nice way of looking at it. My question to Mr. Martin Zhu is, how has entrepreneurship enhanced your PhD experience? Or has it completely destroyed the PhD experience? You're never going to finish your degree. You're 5 years behind now, even though you're in year 4. How has it been?
Thank you, Peter. That's a really good question. I think the entrepreneurship actually is doing good to my PhD study. As you know, apart from doing experiment in the laboratory, we need to convert the technology we develop to the market. The first thing we need to do is to present our idea to some partner, right? In the process of doing entrepreneurship, we can train our skills in presenting, because when we are doing the business or doing some events in the market or in some external organizations, we need to present our things to many different sectors in the society, not only just the doctor or the professors in the university. We may need to talk to some boss of the companies. We may need to talk to some just general public. So in this process, we need to change our presentation method to explain our technology. And I think there's a very good saying, if you don't understand it well enough, you can't explain it simply. So I think this is a very good opportunity for me to train my presentation skills. And the second point is that if I just always stay in the laboratory, I may don't know the true needs of the society. For example, in our case, in the laboratory, we will just focus on developing very high optical performance, high reflection or high emission for the passive radial cooling technology. But after going into the market, I learned that the owners of the buildings or our customers, they may need many different function of the paint, not only just very good cooling performance. They may focus on the durability and the lifespan and the price of our product, not only the performance. So in this process, we can learn from their feedbacks and learn from their suggestions and go back to the laboratory to find some other methods to fine-tune our research. For example, we need to do some very downstream research to cost it down, because in the laboratory, we invented something that is very expensive. It's always expensive. We use some very high purity chemicals to produce our samples. And we also learned that if the price is too high, the customers may not willing to use our technology. So in the laboratory, we do a lot of downstream research to cost it down and to invent or add more practical functions to the current version of our paint. So I think this process also inspires me a lot to further develop our research and to have more findings in the laboratory. So I think it's definitely a very good behavior for our students to do such a kind of entrepreneurship. And I will also highly recommend other PhD students or some UG students, if they are interested in doing business, they can also think about it to see whether they will have an opportunity to convert their invention in the laboratory to a daily product to make the world better. Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like you seem incredibly passionate about both your PhD research and the entrepreneurship you do. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a whole list of questions here, also from many of the contributors, Jerry Lamb, Albert Ip, and some anonymous contributors. Unfortunately, we are out of time, so I am going to leave it here. I would now like you all to pose and smile, because apparently there's a picture being taken. We'll do that for a moment. There's a photographer somewhere at CityU. He's taking a picture. So they're moving now. So bear with us for 1 second, and after that, we will move to the closing remarks. So I think we're doing the picture now. Oh, there is Prof. Wagner. Okay, great. Say cheese or kimchi, whatever you like to say. Oh, we see the photographer. Oh, yes. Getting the clear shot. Thank you for your comments, by the way. We see them coming in. All right, if I have your permission, can we move to the closing comments? Yes, okay, I think we can. So the closing remarks, we start with the founder and CEO of AppliedHE, Miss Mandy Mock. Please go ahead.
Hello again, and thank you for spending your time with us today. It's been a privilege to have such a large global audience and such a distinguished group of speakers. Thank you all for your outstanding contributions. While this marks the end of the first AppliedHE-CityU Hong Kong Masterclass, it is the beginning of a series that will take place throughout 2022. We anticipate to cover many more relevant and exciting topics during the months to come, so do keep an eye on your mailbox. We will be sending you more details soon. We hope that you have enjoyed this event and have learned positive new things about City University of Hong Kong. So, dare I say, should you receive an invitation to nominate top international universities from international ranking agencies, please nominate City University of Hong Kong. I'm sure they deserve your support. Also, if you like this event and are curious about what AppliedHE can do to help boost your global reputation, please drop us a line. We have solutions that can fit any budget, including a range of free services that you can start using right away. We also like to think outside the box, so let us know what challenges your institution is facing and let us present you with an exciting and innovative solution. Finally, do check out our many other new initiatives. We have a professional networking platform called AppliedHE Future, and soon to launch is Southeast Asia or ASEAN first ever private university ranking with a strong focus on learning and employability. You can find out all about us at appliedhe.com. Until then, allow me to wish you a great end of the year and a happy 2022. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay in touch with City University of Hong Kong and AppliedHE. Thank you and enjoy your day.
And now for the closing remarks by the City University of Hong Kong Vice President for Research and Technology, Professor Michael Young.
Thank you. And thank you all for participating in this very important event. I think we have learned a lot. I think we have the honor to share the experience that we have in advancing research and technology. And as we are facing these different kind of global challenges, including the COVID pandemic, the energy crisis, the climate change, and all these issues require the advancement of science and technology and require the innovation to help us to tackle these global challenges. So as you can see from the sharing from my colleagues and our alumni and students, the CTU has embraced this, I would say, a slogan or tagline called "Venture Beyond Boundaries." So as you can see from our university, as a young university aiming to become a world-leading university, we are adventurous. We venture beyond boundaries. We're setting up new disciplines. We keep the pace on the cutting edge of the research in science and engineering. We are the first in establish different kind of interdisciplinary academic departments and schools and colleges. We encourage our faculty members to venture beyond boundaries, beyond their own discipline, to promote interdisciplinary collaboration. We encourage our students and staff to venture beyond boundaries, to take the research results out of the lab, out of the campus, to create a positive impact to the society. So all these engrave our spirit in City University, Hong Kong, to do something, to create something for the betterment of the society, for the humankind. So with that, I hope you enjoyed today's sharing. And this is the first of 4 CTU AppliedHE Masterclass. So look forward to you participating in subsequent masterclasses. And we also look forward to explore different collaboration opportunities with the universities and the colleagues all over the world. Thank you very much. Have a very good evening or good day.
Thank you very much, Professor Young. So yes, as Professor Young mentioned, this is the first of a series. If you signed up for this event, you'll get emails reminding you when the next events are. We've also posted the link to the post-event survey. If you've attended, please fill it out. Thank you very much and see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Can somebody who's hosting cut the feed? Yeah, thank you. There we go. Okay, see you all at 8 p.m., right? For our next meeting. Bye.